on, Lewis, who do you like for MVP?
How about Baker Mayfield? How's that bold for you?
Whoa!
But it's really not that bold considering the fact that my man threw for 4,500 yards last year, 41 TDs, was fourth in passer rating. Look, he lit it up. They have got weapons down there. This team is going to start getting some more national recognition as he continues to play at the level that he's playing at. Just remember the name as we get into the months of November and December. I think he's going to be right there with the big throwers in the league.
What a bounce back that would be for Baker Mayfield. All right, next stop. How about a rookie quarterback that's going to tear it up?
Look, we talk about Caleb Williams in his second year throwing for 4,000 yards. How about Cam Ward throws for 4K in year number one? Look, when I make comparisons to Patrick Mahomes in terms of play style, the arm angles, looking like he's like a shortstop throwing the first base, you saw it in the preseason. Mike Borgonzi, the GM, said he's seen it, and Mike Borgonzi was in from Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Cam Ward is the truth. Cam Ward is a transformational player. He's going to transform that organization in Tennessee back to the top.
All right, and then give me another rookie who's going to make an enormous impact.
I don't know how many people know this name. If you're a draft Nick like we are, and you're a draft hunter like we are, we know who James Pierce Jr. is. Harry's sitting here to my left, shaking his shoulders. How about James Pierce Jr. leads the league in sacks this year? From all reports down there, he's been unblockable in training camp. I said during the draft, if you remember, he reminded me of Javon Curse, the freak, the original freak who used to play for the Titans. This kid right here may solve all of Atlanta's pass rush issues they've had for the past 4 or 5 years.
Harry could be dancing all the way to a playoff berth if they could rush the passer.
I'm like a kid in the candy store screaming, let's crank it up. Here we go.
All right, we'll get to
I
the
see you,
Falcons
Dak.
a little bit later. So, but those are some pretty good hot takes. Yes, come in for some hot takes.
But you know what? But they're not unreasonable, though.
None of them are unreasonable at all.
Yep.
The one thing, if you are such a reasonable man, I need you to do is go down to Dallas and figure this nonsense out. Because the contract dispute between Micah Parsons, still not practicing, and the Cowboys remains at a standstill. I mean, there he is. Look what he's wearing. Look what everyone else is doing. Terry McLaurin, that got worked out. Trey Hendrickson, that got worked out. Parsons, nothing. With their game against Philly looming a week from tomorrow. Here was their new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, asked what a return to play might look like.
The best way to get good at football is to play football, and so I would say as soon as possible would be the desired effect. There'll be a ramp-up plan for him, and when he lines up out there to play, do I think he would play 75 plays in every play? Probably not. I don't think that that's real, but I do think that he can be very disruptive, like we all know.
All right, so, I mean, he's sitting there like sort of on a wing and a prayer. Kmart, tell me why you think some things that have happened this week in other places add an additional layer of pressure on the Cowboys.
Well, we've had two deals that, with Terry McLaurin and also Trey Hendrickson, where everybody said, these two sides, all sides are so far apart, we don't know if this will get done. Guess what? Deadlines spur action, right? So those got done. And also, Taylor and Travis, they're eating up the news cycle, Jerry. Let's go. We are. Greeny is talking in the A block about Taylor and that ring and Travis before you guys. You know you don't like that. I do think, though, that you hear Brian Schottenheimer say, yeah, we have a plan, ramp up. It would be great to have him out there. I think the fact that they need him on the field, I think Jerry's now under a little bit more pressure.
So there are two things that have to happen. We're going to get into a moment from now whether or not he can realistically be ready to play, having really done no or next to no football activity so far in camp. But he also, a paradigm shift has to take place, Dominique. Yeah. Do you have any reason to believe it's going to? Either Jerry Jones has to change his way he's going about this, or Micah just has to say, you know what, I'm just going to swallow my pride and whatever else, and I'm just going to go out there and do it.
One thing about negotiations, especially public ones, is you need to give your opponent some sort of dignified exit. Like, there's a situation right now where Micah would have to come back hat in hand, and that doesn't feel comfortable. Like, Jerry needs to find a way, short of, because it seems like it's not going to be the contract, short of getting a new contract to allow him to come back in a way where he can hold his head high, because he's a prideful person, and a prideful person in this situation is not going to come back and then face the microphones. How is he going to feel when he's been telling us, oh, I want to part ways with the Cowboys. Right. I want to sever ties. I want to scrub my social media, and then I'm going to show up on Thursday and rush the passer afterwards, have to answer questions. They're going to say, what happened? Oh, no, I just wanted to play football. That's not the Micah Parsons that I've gotten to see so far in his career, and Jerry's setting this up for this to go poorly.
It's an interesting point you make. Mike Tannenbaum, longtime general manager, has said many times, both sides have to give a little bit. You have to let both sides feel as though they won a little bit. So there's that. So whether or not there is even a plan that has him on the field a week from tomorrow night remains very much a question. Now let's get into whether that's a possibility or not. Harry, do you believe that a man who has done no or next to no football activity all the way through to today, which is August 27th, can play in an NFL game a week from tomorrow night?
Not the way Michael Parsons wants to play the football game. No, not to be dominant and be that game record that we've seen him to be. I also think it's organizational malpractice. If you sign this guy to a contract, if that gets done 4 days before the Thursday night football game, and you say, hey, Michael, go out here and do what you do best. I think you have to protect your investment, protect your player, but it's also about the longevity. I think it would be irresponsible if they decide to do that.
That's basically essentially what Damian Woody said, sitting in that exact spot, taking up a good deal more space than you do yesterday. Lewis, you made an interesting comparison this morning because we have seen this before.
Yeah, look, Aaron Donald in 2018 sat out all of training camp, signed the day after their last preseason game, signed the richest contract in NFL history outside of quarterbacks. What did he do in 2018? He had 20 sacks.
Yep.
He led his team to the Super Bowl.
Here he comes.
He won his second consecutive defensive MVP. Now, Aaron Donald, if you watch any of what he's doing now in terms of like the way he works out when he's not even playing, I'm sure he was busting his rear end, making sure that when that contract signed, he could hit the ground running. That's the only question I would have with Micah right now is what exactly is he doing, even though he's not practicing football right now. If he is doing things to kind of keep himself as ready as he possibly can, given that back injury that he has.
Yes.
Wink.
Back tightness.
But hey, if he is, there is precedent to say that, look, guys like this who are upper-level elite athletes can hit the ground running. Of course, there's a little bit of a ramp-up period. Aaron Donald had the best season of his career after not going through training camp. He had me thinking at that time going, does anybody need training camp? I mean,
They
you know
won
what I mean?
That was the year they won the Super Bowl.
Now, back tightness is a terrible thing. I'm not going to pretend like it's fake, but I have noticed that when my back get tight, rub a little money on it. It loosens up real quick. You rub a big check on it, and it's in the move right.
I'm going to try that. Instead of going to the chiropractor, I'm like, you want any money?
Oh, it got to be new money, though. It can't be your old money. It got to be fresh money.
It's been working for me for years. So, Kmart, but you are the one person who remains hopeful. Everyone I talk to says, no. You keep saying you think it's going to get done.
2 reasons. Common sense. I'm hoping Jerry is not crazy. Number 2, I was there in Cleveland last season, week 1, and Jerry waited to the last possible second to pay Dak Prescott. I do think, though, if this gets done, which I'm hoping it does, that if Micah gets his money, I don't see him not playing. Like, I don't think that's even an option in his mind if he gets paid. And also, Jerry wouldn't say, oh, he got his bag, let him sit out week 1. He will be out there for sure. I'm just hoping Jerry doesn't mess this up.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice a battle to win the war.
Yeah.
I would be very, I'm speaking from the school of Revis, who pulled a hamstring after a long holdout, and never had the season that you would want him to. That one is one where discretion might be the better part of valor. We'll see. Meanwhile, if you're a sports fan, here's 3 more things you need to know from last night.